Hey there, Sit and Spin fans. Hi, and welcome back to the show, which I know it's been a little while. I've been derelict in my duties, but I've been busy. And truth be told, there hasn't really been a lot musically that's come out lately that's made me all excited. There have been some big name things, but upon listening to them, I wasn't as excited as I was hoping I would be about them. And I don't want to do a negative show, man. There's too much negativity out there, and if I'm not excited enough to really talk about it, then I'm not going to do that either, really. I don't want to just go, yeah, it's alright. You know, what kind of fun is that? So in the interim, I'm going to get around to some things that have come out that I didn't get around to before. Some you may have missed type things like that. Or I just hadn't had a chance to pick up yet. This is the case with today's thing. But we're really cool and I wanted to talk about. So today, we're going to be talking about something that is music related, but isn't necessarily music as its primary thing. It's actually sketch comedy. And way back, I gotta tell this story here, way back in 1980, Saturday Night Live aired on NBC. At the end of the 4th or 5th season, I think it was, but it was 1980. All the original cast members decided they were leaving the show. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Gilda Radner, Garrett Morris, Bill Murray, Lorraine Newman. They were all leaving. They were moving on to do movies and other stuff, and executive producer Lorne Michael went with them. And so there was this influx that we need to get new talent in and do stuff. Well, in the midst of all this, ABC had been long wanting to do a late-night comedy sketch show of their own. And they saw this as the perfect opportunity to finally get that underway. And they figured that, well, we're going to do things a little different. Since they're in New York, we're going to do our show in LA. And since they're on Saturday nights, we're going to beat them to the punch, and we're going to do our show on Friday nights. Hence the name of the show, Fridays. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but I had fond remembrance of the show back in the day. And this new set is The Best of Fridays, which was recently put out by Shout Factory. It's a 5-disc set, which is an overview of the entire series. And a lot of cool people actually got their start on this show. Some of the standouts being Michael Richards and Larry David, long before Seinfeld. They got some of their first television appearances on this show, Fridays. Michael Richards had this great recurring character called Battle Boy that he used to do, where he used to play in his backyard with little army men destroying stuff, and just it's crazy good. Mark Blankfeld is another name you might recognize. He had a couple of recurring character skits that were really funny. My favorite being the pill-popping pharmacist, take a pill, who downed way more of his own drugs than he dispensed. And, of course, Daryl Igo's Rastafarian chef, Nazi Dreadman. No. If you can remember the show, you probably remember that catchline. And a lot of the skits, at least some of them, are represented on the set, which is really cool. Some of the comedy, okay, I'll be honest. It doesn't necessarily stand up as well as it used to back then. Because some of it's timely and topical, and there's like a lot of Reagan stuff. Like that matters really anymore. But it's still kind of funny, but a lot of the good stuff held up. It held up nicely enough that I think that's probably why they did a condensed version and not like full seasons and stuff. But the show actually did pretty well. It ran for 3 seasons, changed its format a little bit. It was a little shorter in the first season. They didn't have a guest host. Second and third seasons they brought in guest hosts, and people like William Shatner. He was on this show before he was on Saturday Night Live. And they had musical guests as well, which is where the music ties into this. And in the second season of the show, Fridays actually beat Saturday Night Live in the ratings. That's how well they were actually doing. But a lot of great musical guests, some of them making their first television appearances, were on the show. Some of the first times I saw some of these bands that are collected on this set. Devo. They were on this, I think, twice. The first time I ever saw Devo was on the show Fridays. The Cars, first time I ever saw them on a TV show was on Fridays. The Clash made their U.S. television debut on Fridays. Stray Cats, they weren't even signed to a record label in the U.S. when they appeared on the show. Kiss, probably one of the most famous bands to ever play the show, was on Fridays, and what I think was the very last episode they ever aired. The Plasmatics, who were not on this, also one of the first times I ever saw them. So this show was responsible for introducing me to a lot of cool bands that I probably never would have found out about. And of course, you may or may not know this if you know anything about Andy Kaufman. The famous Andy Kaufman incident that happened on live television that you always hear about, that was on the show, and they highlight that episode and talk about it in great depth about what actually went down. If you never heard about it, Andy Kaufman basically got into a fight with Michael Richards on the air, and it looked like, you know, they made it to this real big fight thing, and it was all a big bluff, and Richards and a few of the other people were in on it. Nobody else knew that it was all faked. So that was pretty cool to find out. So thanks for Shout Factory for putting out the Best of Fridays. Available in stores now. Go and pick it up. And thanks for hanging around and waiting to see the show again and tuning in on behalf of me and this little white lump that you see over here. Oh, and the Wonder Mutt sleeping as always. Thanks for tuning into the show. Check back again. I got some new stuff coming, and thankfully last week there were a ton of great new releases, and I'm going to get to as many of those as I can in the coming weeks and days. So we'll see you next time on Sit and Spin.